Good morning, people, and welcome to Your Morning Cup with Chuck, where I help you get inspired, educated, and motivated to a point where all you think is positive thoughts, baby, and positive thoughts create positive action. Welcome to the First Cupkc. This podcast is powered by Podcast.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today on the show, I have a very special guest that is multi-talented. He's a boxing champion, an advocate of breast cancer, a comedian, a professional speaker, and has appeared on multiple television broadcasts. Welcome, Cam F. Awesome to the show.
Hey.
What's up, Cam?
What up, man?
What's up? It's been a long time.
It has.
You've been all over the world since then.
A little bit.
A little bit. We're going to talk about it today.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a good episode here.
Good.
I'm glad to have you here for real.
I'm so excited, man.
Yeah, man. You stay excited because you got that energy. You always had that energy, Cam.
I'm just grateful.
Yeah. You got a lot to be grateful for, though. We all do. So I'm going to start off by asking, tell us a little bit about who Cam F. Awesome is. Where are you originally from, and how did you end up in Kansas?
Cam F. Awesome was originally Lenroy Cameron Thompson Jr., born in Long Island, New York. Started boxing in like 11th grade, right before like that summer before senior year. And within like 2 years of I just dedicated all of my time to boxing.
Did you start off like in was it like in school, or was it like a neighborhood boxing gym? Or
it was one of these like free after school like rec programs. And I saw the gym as like just as a way to like work out because I was overweight and I just wanted to lose weight.
Yeah.
And I got in really good shape and I was just there working out. And then I eventually sparred and I was so afraid to get hit. I focused on defense only.
Stick and move.
Only.
Yeah, you got some pretty crafty footwork, man.
And that's
it's a little unorthodox.
A little bit.
But that's different, and that's what throws people off, dude. I've seen many of your fights, man. Many.
Yeah. Because I kind of taught myself how to box. That's why I fight the way I fight. And to me, it was just like off of logic. But I got real because I'm at the heaviest weight class and I figured out how not to get hit.
Yeah.
Like no one ever feared me hurting them. They feared pulling my name in the draw.
Right.
Not because they're going to get hurt. It's just because they're going to lose. Because I figured out the point system.
Right. And there is a point system.
There's a point system. And if I know the rules, I'm going to use all the rules to my advantage.
Right.
And I'm known for that.
Ain't that like Mayweather?
Yeah.
That's kind of like what he did too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Point system. He don't knock too many people out. How many people Mayweather knock out?
Not a lot, but he beats him down, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
So like I take advantage of this rule. Like when a guy throws a hook, instead of ducking it or blocking it, I'll duck it. And while I'm down there, I'll twist his hips and spin him around. And then when his back is to me, I pull him in. Basically, I hump him. And the ref breaks us. And the ref warns him for turning his back to the action.
Right.
If he does that 3 times in a round, he loses a point.
That's strategy.
I take advantage of every single rule. I'm not going to knock you out.
Right.
But I'm out. Thank you.
Right. You know, I've always, I knew you as your original name. I knew that person.
Yeah.
But then this other person sprung up and it literally took everybody by surprise. I want to talk about a little bit about Cam F. Awesome. How did you come up with such a vivid, catchy phrase name, and what process did you use in order to make that happen? Because I know that's kind of like a legally binding name. This is your real name now. This is like legal. Cam F. Awesome, like Cam effing awesome. And when people call you by your name now, and they don't call you by your first and your middle name, they just say Mr. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's just awesome.
I don't like Cam Awesome, though. Like
Cam F.
You got to stress the F.
F.
I know.
I like it, man. How did you come up with that name, and What legal? How did you get that to be legal?
Before I even explain that, I just want to throw out this concept that that I feel like American culture is lacking. Like the Mexican culture, you have guys have a quinceañera, and that's like symbolizes like womanhood, correct?
Right.
Like we don't have that we don't really have anything to like symbolize when you become an adult. So at what point does a child become an adult?
Right.
At what point do you set new boundaries for yourself? Because let's say you got a 16-year-old, you have a different relationship with that 16-year-old now when they're 22.
Yes.
But at sometimes you're going to still want to try to treat them like a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
So when does a person draw that line and change the boundaries in their life?
Never thought of that.
So when I changed my name, I changed everything. I didn't change everything about myself, but I changed what I allowed in my life.
Right.
I changed the way I allow people to treat me. I changed the way I allow myself, the way I treat myself. And I'm still not perfect, but I'm always getting better. And that was kind of the concept. And the idea behind awesome was I always just really like the word.
Right. It's powerful. And if you end someone's name in awesome every time you call them out, it just gives it an awesome appeal. So, but I like the F part too. Cam awesome. It doesn't sound complete.
Like Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, Samuel. You gotta have the L.
Yeah,
gotta have it.
Yeah,
I get it, man. What process? How did you make? How long did it take?
Same process like when a woman
changes her maiden name.
Yeah, same process. And
so you just
I had
applied.
I had to put my name in the paper like 3 weeks in a row because it was like it's an old law, and I did it 1 week because it was like $14. I was like, I'm not doing this 2 more times.
Right.
Yeah, and I went to the judge, and she's like, do you have your papers? I was like, I did it 1 week. I posted on Facebook, and she was like, whatever. Then she did ask me. She's like, are you sure you want to change your last name to Awesome? This is like a decision you're making.
Right.
What are you going to do if you don't like the name? And I'm like,
change it again.
Pay $170. Just do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it turned out well. I was afraid it would come off a little cocky but I don't really care anymore.
Right. Cam, you've always been that personality though. So, I mean, when you changed your name to Cam F. Awesome, you changed it to the personality that you already pretty much held. You just, like you said, took control of it.
Embraced it.
So now it was your name. You gave yourself the name. You were the controller of it, like you were the controller of your new future. So how old were you?
I think it's 23, 24.
23, 20. Yeah, so you were above the age.
Yeah. And when I talk about that kind of like rebirthing period in your life when you set different boundaries, it's usually after something major happens in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know what that event is, it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
But once that event happens and you have to reset some boundaries, when you go through it, it'll make sense.
Right. I get it, man. What got you into boxing? What I know you said you worked out, but what made you say, I'm going to put on the gloves, I'm going to step into this ring, and I'm going to try to punch this guy till the clock runs out?
Straight up, I joined boxing just to lose weight. I realized I know how to not get hit. Now, I was terrible in high school, barely graduated, and everyone was going to college. And I was like, well, I'm going to do this boxing thing. I was sure I was going to be good.
Right.
Like after like my first few fights, I was like, I'm going to figure this out. It's a pattern. I'm going to be good. And I'm just going to ride this boxing thing and use boxing as an avenue to get to wherever I want to go to in life.
Right. You did. Boxing has taken you all over the world. And when I say over the world, you've been in third world countries. You've been in regular countries. Tell us about some of the places you've been at in the different culture that you had to slightly adjust to. Now, I know you're vegan, And I know some of these places, it had to be like hard to really get nutrients that you are used to.
Yeah, Argentina. Like these people, their steaks are like it
Dinosaur steaks.
bro. It is it is ridiculous. Like just because you're walking down the street and it's just these giant slabs of meat like on
Everywhere.
plates. Yeah. All of the countries have like a little different vibe. You realize that everyone is they're just people, but you realize the intricacies of life, of your everyday life, you don't notice because it's all you see.
Right.
So when you go to another place and you see the way they live, the way they interact, even the way like society treats elders compared to like in America.
Right.
And I'm not saying that anything's right or wrong. It's just like culture's just a way of life. But I think it's the coolest part about my boxing experience is being able to travel to all these countries and then experience these cultures.
Right. How did they treat you when you were there? I mean, did they treat you like you were from another place and you were intrusive, or did they embrace you when you came?
I had nothing but great experiences in every country I've gone to.
Name
And
some of the places.
I mean, Ukraine,
I just want the visitors. I mean, the listeners. I want them to understand when I say you've been all over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I've been to England, Russia, Ukraine, Chile, Trinidad, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Panama, Mexico, Canada, England.
You've been all
Finland.
over the world. Finland.
Yeah, Finland's one of my favorite countries I've gotten to visit.
I did a little research on Finland and their school district. I mean, their school system.
Aren't they?
Man, I'm just saying.
They are so smart.
Yeah.
They're smart to a level of, so like when they see you and they know you're from America, they come up to you and they speak to you in fluent English.
Right.
And then they're like, oh, I know you're from America, so English is probably the only language you speak. Am I right? And I'm like, it's condescending. Accurate.
Yeah.
Accurate, but condescending nevertheless.
Yeah. But they are intelligent people. Craziest thing about it is their school system, their formal school system is our old formal school system. They actually took the old way we did school before they came up with all these books, and the Rockefellers pretty much bought our books. I think it was the Rockefellers. Don't get me. I don't know.
Don't get me down another TikTok rabbit hole, bro.
Hey, man, we might have time for you to go there. So I do have another question about your boxing. Man, you were on Netflix.
Yeah.
You've been on other TV shows. This wasn't just a part-time hobby for you. Tell our listeners about your Netflix special.
Counterpunch. So I'll even take this a little bit further back and show you what my vision was when I first started boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the first time I got to nationals, I made it to the finals. Second time I got to nationals, I made it to the finals. When you make it to the finals, you have to fill out this form of like your height, your weight, where you're from, your education, like your favorite boxer, and what are your goals in box. What are your goals in the ring? And the interview is still up there now. I said to get a TV show.
Right.
Like this was just to like, I just wanted to use boxing as a springboard to go do something else.
Right.
I wasn't the greatest fan of boxing. Granted, I love the sport. I respect the sport, but I don't really watch it like that. Yeah.
It's a step.
Yeah. And I always saw it as a step, but when I got into it and I realized I can do it long enough, like for one, I did it every year to get health insurance because
health insurance comes with getting
America's
punched.
like the Hunger Games.
Yeah. He said the Hunger Games.
I gotta literally fight for my health insurance, but
That's a very unique way of putting it too.
but then I was awarded the luxury of traveling around the world as #1 boxer. And I realized like I did it. I won nationals once and I was like, oh, I'm not saying it was easy, but I'm saying if I did it once, what's stopping me from doing it again? So I just did it again. and then again and again and again and again and again, because I just like to travel. At some point I got lost in boxing where it was never ever about turning pro. It was about stamps in my passport, experiencing
The world. And you got to do that.
Yeah. And I'm
And
so
what platform did that for you?
boxing, USA Boxing. I am so grateful.
Yeah.
And I don't think enough people like know, like, and actually it's the coaches, even like the coaches volunteer, all the people of USA Boxing, crazy people. They love the sport so much, and they take their time off work. They fly to other states.
Dedicated.
And no matter what, half of the boxers there are going to hate them.
Right. Yeah, because they're not going to, half the people got to lose.
Actually, more than half.
Yeah.
Only 10 people win the tournament.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes some of those 10 people that won the tournament really shouldn't have won the tournament. I followed you on one of your, I think it was your Olympic visit. We all watched that fight, and I had you winning the fight, and then it turned out that it wasn't, and I'm like, what? And I seen the little interview, which, man, I kind of went with you on that. It's like, you didn't lose the refs kind of helped that issue happen. You know, it's and I'm like, wow. But to move on from that, because I know I got some stuff here for you. And this is an important one, because a lot of people, they do what they do, but they don't do it. There's no causes behind it. Now, I know you had a particular way you used to enter the ring. That's the character. You know, you added character to the sport. You didn't just go in as this, you had some sort of character behind it, which made it easier for people to watch. It made people look forward to watching your fights, because they seen when you came in, you're going to come in with the dress, you're going to come in with the attitude, you were going to come in with the.
I mean, it's a sport. It's supposed to be entertaining,
but some people don't see it like that.
And like what I figured out early on, when I something clicked in my brain about I can see punches coming before they come. When I'm fighting a person, I look at their sternum, and if I see your shoulder flinch, that's the direction I go. My brain is trained to it. So I can slip punches. Once I figured that out, I realized you don't need to be tough to win.
Right.
All these guys walking around acting big and bad. I was like, okay, this is how easy it is to win. I'm going to do it in a skirt.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't, they were short still.
A pink skirt. No, it was a pink skirt.
Oh. So that leads me to my next question, Cam. Hold on. I got to take a special minute to.
Got a drink.
I got to keep remembering to give it up for no solutions. All right, back to the broadcast. Pink skirt equals a love for boobies.
Yes.
You are a very big advocate of breast cancer. How did you get that passion? Where'd that come from?
Actually, I was lucky enough to not be affected by breast cancer or by cancer in my family, and then I came to Kansas City, and Camilla had breast cancer, and as a honor to her,
right,
I started wearing pink.
I remember Camilla, man, that's and now it's all coming back to me. I remember. Yeah, it's been over a decade.
She's why I started it.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. How's she doing?
She's good.
Survivor.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
Yeah,
that's
I believe 3 times.
Man,
yeah.
How many hours of training have you put in? How many times have you lost weight, gained weight, lost weight, gained weight? How many children have you talked to? I mean, boxing. You went from boxing as a kid into an adult life. It has had to change you in some sort of way. What would you say that is?
First of all, what boxing has taught me, when I said I was afraid to get hit, I knew if I got tired, I would get hit. So that was my thing. I was always moving. Like I was terrified, bro. as afraid of as I am to be hit, you would wonder, like, why are you even boxing?
Right.
Right. And that I had to work hard to be in shape.
Right.
At super heavyweight, my level of what I knew hard work was, because everyone thinks they work hard, but what is the level you're comparing it to?
Right.
Is it physically possible to work harder? And out of being terrified, I always just worked a little harder.
Right.
And I always made it a joke that I never worked out and I was always lazy. But I don't like large crowds and like being in the gym with a bunch of people. So I would always go work out in the morning by myself.
Right.
I always run. Even though I hate running at the time, I would always run. And when I had that level of dedication for 12 years and I leave the sport and I put that level of dedication into literally anything else, I'm going to find success.
Right.
And I think boxing has taught me what hard work is.
And it is a lot of work because it's dedication and sacrifice. It's a lot that goes into getting in the gym to practice. And that's a heavy, intense way of practicing just for that one fight that's coming up. You think these people out here, they think they got it hard just because they're leading up to one thing, when you got somebody that's putting in so much work to make sure that one fight they can win it. And man,
sometimes that one fight you're training for is someone who already beat you up.
Oh yeah, so you going into the fight like, I can't let this happen again.
Yeah.
And then you got fear behind a loss. You got fear behind getting hit. Man, I can get it, man. So you went from slipping punches and dodging the hit and wearing people out, but prevailing and winning the fight, to standing on stage and making people laugh. That's a transition. You got to tell me about it, man.
I put the gloves down and picked the mic up.
How? I mean, that's a transition. You went from serious man to funny man.
So, like, I've always known what I wanted out of boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I literally known. I knew I just wanted to win a bunch and travel. You saw I was very carefree every time you saw me. There was no pressure in the world because I knew exactly what I wanted, and it was a part of my plan. And I understood my plan was going to take years.
Right.
And after I got suspended in 2012 and I was suspended for a year, had to take a year off.
Mm-hmm.
I realized I have nothing other than boxing. I dedicated all of my time to boxing. I was always carefree. I was always relaxed, but I was like, oh, this is adulthood. This is real life.
Mm-hmm.
I got bills to pay and I don't have any skills. I don't have a degree. I don't have a certification. I'm training people in boxing, but that's not going to cut it for too long.
No.
So when I returned to boxing, I realized I was going to use my platform of boxing to build a career for myself for after the sport.
Right.
So my goal from 2012 on, of course, it was the Olympics and all that. But my overall plan, I knew my life plan was to use these experiences through boxing to build a career for the future. And I'm doing that through speaking.
Yes, you are. How long, before I even asked that, what was it like? Now, I know you getting in the ring is one thing, because you are paying 100% attention to your opponent. But now your opponent is tens of up to hundreds of people looking back at you, wanting to laugh. And it's your duty to make them laugh, man. What did that feel like? You know,
sometimes they don't laugh.
I know. That's what I'm saying. He said sometimes they don't laugh. It's the look in your face, Cam, that just set me off. But what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the world's greatest comic by any means. I'm still finding my voice and figuring things out. And but I am where I want to be. Right. And I take a break from comedy the last few years because of the pandemic and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to change my approach with comedy. When I first started, it was back in 2012, and my backup plan for in 2012 when I was suspended, I was like, okay, I need a backup plan other than boxing.
Right.
So my plan was going to be comedy, which
How
is
did you
funny in itself. Because I went to an open mic, and I was like, oh, I understand. Here's one thing boxing taught me. I understand no matter what it is you do in life, if you do it long enough, you're going to get better.
Right.
And if you do it even longer, everyone who was better than you, they're going to stop doing it and you're going to be the best.
Right.
Like, so I figured with comedy, like, of course I'm terrible. I know I'm terrible. When I get off stage, the look on my face, I look very confident. I know in my head I didn't do that well, but I know that's where I'm supposed to be for the larger goal.
Right.
I don't have shame. I'm not going to let a lot of people are embarrassed to try things because they're afraid to fail and people are going to laugh at them. I don't care what nobody think.
Yeah, you don't get nowhere if you ain't failing at nothing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because that means you ain't trying enough.
Yeah.
And I've never been that person not to try. I failed a whole lot. And guess what? I'm used to failing, so why stop now?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because every failure is going to lead you to something a lot further than where you were before you didn't fail. So,
Yeah. Gretzky said you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, who's checking field goal percentages?
Right. No one.
You can fail as many times as you want.
Yeah. That's right. That is right, man. So you went from comedy to speaking. Now, this speaking thing, I'm going to say professional speaking thing, because this is a profession in its own.
Yeah.
For someone to get up on stage in front of thousands of children. I mean, I know you speak with other people too, because I've seen them, but I've seen you talk with a lot of schools.
Bro, I love talk. Like, first of all, I will speak to anyone, any crowd, but no one scares me like middle schoolers.
Right. I can imagine they're so judgmental.
Yeah. But I got into it. John Brown used to make me, so John Brown's my coach. He used to make me go to Turner Middle School and Turner High School and some of the Wyandotte schools, take over the gym class for the entire day, and bring in boxing gloves and do a little boxing tutorial with the kids, and then invite them to the free boxing gym, Turner Boxing Academy. I used to go with Leo. Leo and Elise used to go do that. That's who I actually started with. And I didn't want to pull the gloves in all the time and do all that. And I figured out if I can just speak for 45 minutes about boxing, I don't need to pull the gloves in.
Right.
And that's when I started
Developing
my speech. And meanwhile, I'm still doing stand up. Now, when you do stand up, the hardest part is getting stage time. So you have to constantly go to open mics, and you wait all night to perform 3 minutes and no one's listening.
Right.
But I realized I have an audience with students. So I just give them my speech and I just slide jokes in there. I'm like, oh, that joke works. So it was basically my open mic.
Right.
And then I realized kids were super engaged if the message was funny.
Right.
So I started developing this kind of motivational humor where, yes, there's a message, but it's a storytelling joke. We go through a journey. There's callbacks, all of that. It's funny, but there's a moral and message at the end.
Right.
And that's not really a genre right now, but that's what I want to make happen. That's kind of where I see myself in the future.
So what do you talk to these kids about when you're talking to them? Is it more, it's not like a troubled thing. Is it more like what would you say?
I talk to kids about stuff I wish someone would have told me
about. Yeah.
That's
a lot.
Yeah. Oh, my favorite is when I get to speak at detention centers. I can keep it real, bro. You can keep it real in there. Yeah. And I love having those honest, real conversations, because people forget that kids have problems. Just because they're not 18 doesn't mean they don't have real life problems.
Yeah.
And when your brain's not fully developed and you're trying to look for the solutions to your problems, shout out to No Solutions, then you're going to make some mistakes and you might end up in a detention center. And you're not a bad person.
Right.
You might be really resourceful.
Just bad decisions.
Bad decisions. You might have came up with a good plan. The fact that you're ambitious enough to come with the plan, that should be celebrated.
Yeah.
Let's look at that part of it. We got entrepreneurs out there.
That have been to jail. Me personally, I literally went I caught a case when I was 14 years old. 15, it sent me to prison. I stayed in the hospital in the prison because I couldn't be in population until I turned 16. From 16, I got kicked in normal population with killers, rapists. I mean, you name it, they were there. I mean, from all ages. And guess what? Guess who was a old little young peon who couldn't even purchase lighters because you had to be 18 to get them. Shit. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I get it, man. It's just hard talking to kids. You would think it's hard. But that's why I'm gonna ones. That's why I was about to ask you.
They're the realest ones. Because, like, adults, we've made, so the 4 agreements, I don't want to get in that tangent, but we've made agreements with ourselves, and society has made agreements for us. So the whole, the American version of a quinceañera, I'm talking about, like, setting those boundaries. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I'm speaking about there.
All right. Like, you're just teaching them the processes of letting go of all of the old morals and
schools asked me to come speak about technology and appropriate social media use. Mm-hmm. I'm there to I let them know. First of all, I love technology. I wouldn't be at the school if it wasn't for technology because I don't know how to read a map.
Yeah,
and I list all the things I used, all the technology I used to get there today, and how we can benefit from technology, from the rental car apps, from Hopper for finding deals, emails, confirmations. The convenience, the wallet on your card, the rental car, the hotel,
the phone,
all of that just to get to that speech where I have a projector and I'm speaking into a microphone. So I'm not here to tell you that technology is bad. I'm here to ask you, how well are you utilizing the technology you have now?
And that's how you find a solution to anything that's got to do with
Again,
technology.
Shout out to No Solutions.
No Solutions. Yeah, man, that's deep, man. That's deep. So do you want to tell me a little bit about culture competence? Because, man, your TikTok videos, and not just your TikTok videos, because I watched a couple of your inserts on Instagram. And, you know, you're scrolling and you see videos, you see people, and I'm like, oh, that's Cam. And dude, every time I'm scrolling and you pop up, it's like it's right in the middle of something that you got to stop and like, whoa, what did he just say? And then I listen to it. Now, I know it can be a little controversial, but guess what? What you're talking about, Cam F, awesome. People need to hear it.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not controversial. It's reality.
Right.
And the fact that people look at it like it's controversial is the problem.
Yes.
Like, bro, I'm black. There's some people that are Mexican. There's some people that are white. You can say it like back in the day, kids got shunned for talking about race. So like I'm in Walmart and there's a little white kid and he's like, mommy, he's black. And the mom, what does the mom do in that situation?
She probably don't call him that. Shh. He heard you.
And what's wrong? I am black.
Yeah.
The kid was right.
Yeah.
But now he's afraid to talk about race. And we have a whole generation of people who are afraid to talk about race. And the fact that anything with race comes up, they automatically go on high alert and think it's controversial.
Right.
And I think that's the issue in itself. I talk about culture, and in culture, everything falls in that. And culture, by definition, means a way of life.
Right.
Race falls in there. I discuss about that. But these are conversations. I'm not making anything up.
Right.
I'm just having discussions. What I find is if I start the discussion, and it's in person where people are humans.
Right.
I've had nothing but great experiences. I've had people who completely disagree with me.
Right.
And those are my favorite people to talk to because I think I'm awesome. So to the point where I changed my name to Awesome, but I don't want to live in a world where everyone is just like me.
Right.
So I love having those discussions with people I disagree with.
That's the difference. And like I say, man, if you don't talk about it, how will you ever come to some sort of understanding? Me personally, I'm in a biracial family. I see things a little different than I used to. I mean, growing up in a household where you're constantly told it's the white man's fault, it's this person's fault, it's always someone else's fault for your oppression and this and that. And then I look on TV and I see all these black movie stars that's living the dream, you know, these even rappers that's saying the B and the H words. And I mean, you got all these rich, well off African American people, but we're living in a society where we're oppressed, you know. So I look at it like this: we're different shades. We're different shades of color. Mexicans are all different shades of colors. African Americans are different shades of color. Caucasians are different shades of color. And man, it's just a car we drive. Yeah. You know, I'm not going to judge somebody because they're, well, I don't know. If they're in an Acura and it's beat up and they park right next to me, I mean, I might want to go park a couple clap down door dings.
Yeah, and the thing is those little subtle things.
Yeah.
So like when I first moved to Kansas City, John Brown, like I moved here, I didn't have a car. John Brown gave me his car. It was a hardtop cherry red convertible. Living in
hey John Brown, can I get one of them?
It was, I felt I was the man when I was 19 right. For a little bit. But I got pulled over 3 to 4 times a month, but that was no big deal to me because that's when I just started driving. And right. I didn't know. And it never popped in my mind to come up in conversation. And then one day I brought it up to John that like I'm a smooth talker because I talk myself out of tickets. Mm-hmm. And John's like, "You're not talking yourself out of tickets." I was like, "Yeah, I am. How come I ain't getting no tickets yet?" He's like, "You getting tickets because you're a black guy in a nice car." And I was like, "All right, Grandpa." Like those, because legit, I'm 19. I'm like,
you just don't,
John,
you wouldn't even want to know it.
I'm like, yeah, I know. I thought he was old and he thought things were still like that.
Right.
And then I started driving a Prius and I never got pulled over again.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, but
you keep driving that Prius now.
Yeah, but the thing is, I should be able to drive a Tesla and feel safe.
Right.
Now, I think that's when we talk about like the inequities and stuff, mm-hmm. those are the issues that I talk about and I address. Right. Because it's those little subtle things of like, you were taught that the white man was oppressing you and stuff. These are things that were beat into you mm-hmm. when you were a kid. Now, if you were a kid and you were told that black people were bad and it was beat into you, and then you became older and you realized it was wrong, it's still ingrained in you a little bit.
Yeah.
So when those little subtle moments, when you have to make a decision, should this person get a loan or should this person get a ticket?
First thing, I didn't get it because of this.
But those are the subtleties why. Because if we're looking at the numbers, black people get pulled over a lot more. Why is that? Is it because they're bad drivers?
Or is it because they're African American? Yeah.
And these are the subtle biases that lead to these changes. And it's not purposeful. It's not someone's like, "Oh, that's a black person, I'm gonna pull over." It's like you see a young black guy in a car that guy shouldn't be driving a car like that. What's going on there? Right. Because it is unlikely that I would be driving that nice of a car at that age.
I mean, but I don't see why, because what if your parents were well off and they bought it for you? I mean, black people have money too.
Do you think the cop in Merriam knows that? Does he have the exposure to the rich black families? No, the only black families he sees are the poor black families portrayed on TV.
Right.
So that's why he has those biases in him. He's not a bad person. That's the propaganda I was talking about earlier, brother.
Right. That's it, man. You just made that a little more clear.
So, and it's not out of hate or anything. It's just all he knows. If you've never seen, okay, put it like this, because you forget that there are bubbles out there. The high school I went to, over 3,000 students in that high school. My graduating class, we didn't have not one white student. Not one. The only white people I saw were on TV. Man. So I grew up thinking all white people were rich.
Right.
Because all the white people I saw were either in my neighborhood working, they had jobs and suits and stuff,
mm-hmm.
or they're on TV. The only black people I saw with money were rappers and actors,
drug dealers,
and not even drug dealers, because I wasn't even about that life growing up. I stayed so far from that. I'm not even like Caribbean parents don't play that. That wasn't even an option in my house. But I knew the only way I can get out was sports or music, and I can't hold a beat. So when I saw the opportunity of a rec program, I didn't see the rec program as I saw it as an opportunity.
All right.
And I'm so grateful that there are programs out there that are like that, because we don't really think about those programs. I grew up in after school programs, bro.
Mm-hmm. Me too. I grew up in an after school program in prison.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. What's your plans for the future, man? What you got planned? I mean, I know you're only in town for a minute because you're all over the place.
Yeah.
This interview right here is a blessing, man. I'm grateful that you were even able to.
I'm so grateful to connect with you, bro.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing, man. I love what you're doing, and that's why I want to know what you got planned next.
So I'm so grateful. It seems like the world is going back to normal. Like, it's cool to go in school and like not have to wear a mask, and like it seems normal again. And now that schools are back open, assemblies are back, and I'm back speaking at a bunch of schools. Next week I hit New Jersey, Connecticut, and New York. Do schools out there, and
Got a full schedule all the way into the summer.
Pretty much all the way until like the end of April. End of April, I end in end the tour in Colorado.
And what are you doing after that? What you doing for the summer?
No days off, man.
No days off.
So I'm trying to build a speaking business, and so I'm also coaching speakers and growing my own speaking business, and that has been a tremendous experience, because boxing, like, even though it was a mental game, it's different than actually like reading and like understanding policies, and like you don't get to strong arm someone to get the heavy bag because you're the biggest dude in the gym.
Right.
Like there are different rules and like etiquettes that come with business, and these are things I'm learning. I'm making a lot of mistakes, man.
But you know what? Make them.
I love it.
Because, I mean, in the business world, if you knew exactly what business was about before you entered it, you probably would have entered a long time ago.
Yeah.
I've been in business for 4 years now. Going on, this is my fourth. April will be my fourth, and man, we're still making. Now we're not making big mistakes. We've never really made big mistakes, but we're not scared. We're not scared to fail. So we have made little mistakes, and it's a learning process. You are constantly going to learn, no matter if you even know it. You can know all you need to know, but guess what? The rules is always changing. And the business world with new technologies coming in is never going to be something that you can just create, learn, and sit on.
Remember that person who said, "Nah, I'm going to always write handwritten letters because that's always going to be in."
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to adopt email, or I'm not going to do social media.
Yep.
You know what's next? I'm not doing the metaverse.
Yep.
Cool. You stay behind, buddy. You stay behind.
Sometimes you're forced because what is it? If you're not following the path, you'll get left behind unless you create the path yourself. Yeah. So if you're not creating it, then you're probably going to go with it, because man, you create the metaverse, it's going to be something that's created after that. I mean, what was before Facebook? MySpace?
Yeah. Shout out to MySpace.
I'm just saying.
Good times.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Tagged?
Oh.
You know, you got all these new kids hear that stuff now. They be like, what?
They don't know about Tagged.
You ain't never heard of Tagged?
Bro, I've been out the game so long. I bet all these apps, upgrades.
Yeah, they still going, because if they not big here in America, there's still other countries that use these platforms.
I'm such a fan of it, but I'm such a fan of it. I'm an old head in the fact where, like, I grew up in barbershops, like hearing dudes just talk junk, just talking barbershop talk.
Right.
But I wasn't old enough to talk yet. Like I was like 10, 11. They're not going to listen to me. Right. Like I don't get to get in the circle yet. And I always wish that was like an experience I always wanted to recreate. So I always loved the idea of like holding court. Going to nationals, my favorite part would just be at weigh-in, just a bunch of people around just having a good time. Like that to me is fun. But kids today don't seem to be interested in that. So I'm an old head in the sense where I like that vibe of like just kicking it,
hanging out
face to face,
in person, without the mask.
Without the mask.
I mean, you can see people. I mean,
some people like the mask. Some people with anxiety or they got acne. Some people are just keeping the mask on. Schools, it's optional. A bunch of kids are keeping them on because they personally like to keep it on. Do I know how that's going to affect them in the future? Nah, but I don't get paid for that. So,
right. I honestly, man, I do have an opinion about that.
I don't have kids, so I can't speak that strongly on it. Right. But if I did have kids, I'd probably look into it.
Yeah. And I've kind of looked into it, but it's kind of hard to actually get a true analysis of what will happen. You have so many professionals that say, no, over time, yada, yada, this. The doctors wear them all day long, every day, and nothing ever really happens to them. And
But I wonder how many more people are going to be germaphobes. Because if you grow up as a kid having to wash your hands like it's an emergency, over and over for like 12% of your life at that point,
you're going to grow up a sick adult. And the only reason why I say that is because you got to build a strong immune system.
I will say though, I don't know what the alternative is. I just sat back. I never gave an opinion this whole pandemic. Mm-hmm. And I just sat back because I realized there's no right answer.
Nope.
There's no right way to do it. And I've watched so many people argue online and friendships be ruined and people be so pissed off over miscommunication and a lack of communication. So, that's why I kind of been ghosted social media a little bit because I get, and it's so much layers of it that we don't even realize it's on our subconscious. When I see some pictures and I'm not even that dude, but if I see a picture of a peer and I'm like, oh, what? Damn, his kitchen look nice. That's a big house. 18-foot ceilings. I don't got 18-foot ceilings. I wonder what he doing.
Yeah.
I don't need to be seeing that all day. I can't have everything. I'm a minimalist. I don't even want everything.
Yeah.
But those little things, and also the constant negativity. So one thing I've implemented into my life that has literally changed my life for the better. One of the best things I've ever done is I started a gratitude journal. Every morning before I even look at my phone, the first thing I do is I write 10 things I'm grateful for. Mm. The first thing, my girl, my dog. That never changes. I want to remind myself of my inner, like, that's my team. My family's my team. My girl's my team. Like, I see dudes cheating on the girls. I'm like, that's your teammate, bro. This is real life. Once y'all connect bank accounts, it's real.
Yeah.
So I want to remind myself every morning what I'm grateful for. So that's the first thing. That never changed. But the other 9 things on that list, I come up with a different one every morning. So the first week was easy. Grateful for my house, grateful for my car, grateful for 2 driveways. I'm grateful for this, grateful. After a month,
it starts to wear down.
And you start to have to think. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, you want to look at that phone.
Yeah.
So you start thinking, you start digging deep, and you start to look for things to be grateful for. Sometimes it would take me 20 to 30 minutes to do it.
It's deep. I never looked at it like that. Somebody on one of the other episodes said they take their phone and they plug it in another room, and it's there all night because the bedroom is for sleeping, and
it should be.
Yeah, and it's for winding down and spending that last little bit of sleep, last little bit of time awake with whoever your company is.
Appreciating your time.
Yeah, appreciating that time. And then
I need to work on that as well, like being present. Mm-hmm. And I talk to my girl about that because, like, sometimes I'm like thinking about, I'm obsessed over my job. Like, speaking my career, I'm obsessed over it. My girl, like, she's trying to plan a vacation, and I'm like, oh, we're going to go to Oregon. I got a school in Oregon I can reach out to, speak to. Yeah. And she's like, we're not going for that. Like, I love being on the stage. I love what I do.
Oh, man, I get it.
But my phone is my connection to that.
Yeah.
So in order for me to do the thing I love to do, I have to be grateful.
Yeah.
So the first thing I do, and I implemented this as well. If I write someone on my list, so if I say I'm grateful for
my mom,
I gotta call her or text her, let her know.
Y'all listen to this?
Because what I realized on the list, you'll just start naming people you're grateful for just to get through the 10. But are you actually grateful for them?
Right.
And if you are and you never told them, why?
Yeah. That's deep, man. That's deep. And it's deep how you said you are infatuated with your career, the path you're on. Because, man, I am too. And sometimes I get so riled up in it and things don't go the way I want them to go because I want them this way. I just forget about everything else and the people that's behind the push, you know. And my wife, she's one of them. She's the one that's pushing a lot of it. And I do admit, man, sometimes you get so riled up in that dream that you just forget. So, man, that's deep. I like that whole concept, though. Yeah. 10 things to be grateful for.
Yeah, and to kind of sum it up, the reason why I do this practice, I do it I haven't missed a morning. The reason why I do it every morning is because I want to look at my phone. So to make sure that I have things to be grateful for tomorrow morning, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to find things throughout my day today to have for my list tomorrow. Right. So I'm just constantly looking for things to be grateful for throughout my day.
Deep.
My life has been so much better. This is heaven, man.
Man, that's deep, man. So for the listeners wanting to reach out to you, how can they contact Mr. Awesome?
www.camfawesome.com. If I don't know who would ever need an website anymore. I think those are kind of antiquated.
Social media sites.
Yeah, at CamFawesome, CamFawesome.
And don't forget the F.
Please stress the F.
Please. All right, last question. What word of advice can you leave the listeners this morning?
I think something we hit on earlier about failing, because like I feel like a lot of people are afraid to fail or afraid to set goals or afraid to try something. Mm-hmm. No one cares about your progress. Like you might think that people might like, oh, you failed. No one's going to think twice about your failure. You're the only one who's going to think about it, and don't beat yourself up over it. Yeah, I don't beat myself up over failure. If I bomb on stage, I get off stage smiling and you would think I killed.
Hey,
because it's a part of the process.
That's just the process.
Accept it. And you're going to be sad sometimes. I get sad sometimes. You could be sad, but get back on the horse.
All right. Because the more you ride it, the better you get at it and the better you become. And like you said, eventually you will become one of the greats. So that's awesome, man. That is 100% awesome. Before we go, I just got one little insert. That van that you put together and you went on the road with, you still got that thing?
Yeah, that was probably one of the coolest experiences of my life. I bought a van in 2017 and just took off. I didn't know where I was going, and I got Wi-Fi in the van, and I just booked gigs out of the back of the van. And I was like speaking at schools. I would creepily speaking in the parking lot of middle schools in my van, and it was a cool experience because it allowed me to travel to all of these different states, speak at all of these schools. I love speaking, and I love being able to do that. And I got to speak over 100 times a year for just a couple years. The pandemic stopped that. Right. And I still have the van. I gutted it out though. Mm-hmm. I gutted it out. My girl and I, she refinishes furniture. So I make Lowe's runs for her in the van now.
Uh-oh. Yeah. That's what's up, man.
Yeah. Hey, the game's changed.
Yeah,
hung the jersey up.
That's definitely an awesome experience to be able to do. I have another friend who's taken off like that on his motorcycle, but he packed everything in his bag and sleeping tent. He would catch 2 trees together and tie the hammock to a tree and sleep with his heat. And that's how he literally drives his motorcycle every once in a while.
Sleep with his heat?
Sleep with the gun.
I thought so. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
I mean, just for protection, because he's out in the middle of the woods, man. He would start his own fire. He's an what do you call that? Extremist? Someone that goes out and hunts his own food down. And man,
some people are built different.
Yeah. This guy is built different. Shouts out to James Stewart, man. You built different.
Yeah,
I'm
James.
just saying.
Yeah, some people are definitely
He's built
different.
And Cam, man, I appreciate you coming by. It's been a long time. We definitely got to stay more in touch. If you have anything locally going on here, let me know, man. You know, I'm a big supporter of people that get out here and talk positive talk, and help others understand what they might not understand. Keep up your culture, competence talks, because the world needs to understand different viewpoints, and you definitely have a viewpoint to talk about. Thank you, man. Thank you for coming.
I appreciate you having me, man. It was so good to connect with you. It's been years, man.
Yes, it has, man. Yes, it has, man. Well, that wraps it up for the show today. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their Saturday and the rest of their weekend. And like always, stay positive, people.